Muchísimas gracias por sintonizar a Talking Rock en Español. Estamos transmitiendo desde la ciudad más feliz del mundo, Anaheim, California. Yo soy su servidor, Héctor Robles, y a mi lado está
Cristian Mejía.
Y vamos a hablar rock en español.
All right, thanks a lot. September 9, 2012. And this is basically the list of shows that are happening for this coming week. Thursday, September 13, the San Francisco Latino Film Festival pre-party by La Santa Cecilia, Candelaria, and DJ Lucio performing at the Blue Macabre in San Francisco. Here's another great show that is also coming up on Thursday, September 13, is Los Claxons. It's a free show, and it's produced by Automatico. And this is going to be here at Los Globos. Address is 3040 West Sunset Boulevard. And I believe it's a 21 and over. You know, you want to go ahead and look up Automatico on Facebook.com.
You know, Los Globos is actually having a lot of really good shows, dude. It's starting to turn into a happening club, dude.
Yes, it is. And so a lot of props to Los Globos for doing that. And the next big show that is happening is El Grito de Rock Mexicano. And this is by a whole bunch of metal bands that is going to be taking place over at the Hollywood Park Casino. It's $12, and it's in all ages. I understand that kids under 12 are completely free. And again, this is going to be happening on Saturday, the 15th at Hollywood Park Casino. The address for that is 3883 West Century Boulevard, and that's in the city of Inglewood. So you guys enjoy the shows, and I got Hector here with something else.
Oh, well, actually, our band Experimento 56 is also playing at Roberto's nightclub in Chinatown this Friday night. For more information, you can actually visit our website, experimento56.com. Se deletrea experimento sin la E. También una cosa muy suave que está pasando es que el podcast se va a estar transmitiendo por Suburbia FM en Uruguay. So, unos saludotes a toda la gente de Uruguay que nos está escuchando allí. A todos los que nos están escuchando por iTunes o directamente en INTOROQ.com. Bueno, vamos a seguir ahorita con esta siguiente entrevista, que la entrevista es con Sonsoles, que están aquí basados en Los Ángeles, California, y recientemente ganaron el concurso de rock con la Super Estrella. Y vamos con Sonsoles.
Hello.
What's going on, guys?
Hello, yeah. What's up? Hola, hola.
So, the winners of Reventon 2012.
That was
congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So let's go ahead and take us back a little bit more, like the beginnings, the birth of Sonsoles.
Mm-hmm.
We actually noticed that there's several of you guys that are like, you know, from Mexico, El Salvador. At one point, there was also from the Dominican Republic, if I'm not mistaken. How did you guys meet? You know, all of these wonderful people from all of these places from the club.
Well, I met, I moved from Spain 8 years ago to go to Musicians Institute. I went to Guitar Center to buy some cables and stuff. And I met a guy that was a drummer that introduced me to Caesar.
Okay.
And he was a salesperson in Guitar Center. And that's how I met Caesar. And they wanted a guitar player. Actually, they wanted a singer back in the day. And this was like in 2003, 2004. So that's how we met. And when I started playing with them, they are like, "Oh no, you're gonna be a guitar player. They didn't really like my singing, I guess."
Okay.
So
but before that, Jose, before you actually went into a Guitar Center, how long were you here in the United States?
Like a month. I actually was attending MI at that time, so I didn't really want to get involved with bands or anything like that.
So you were just basically here to study music then? That's pretty much it.
Well, my personal life story is kind of tricky because I moved here to stay 6 months and go back to Spain.
Mm-hmm.
So not in my wildest dreams, I thought I was going to stay here for 8 years. It was not in my plans. I didn't come to Los Angeles to make it or anything like that. I actually was doing pretty good in Spain. I was playing with a lot of rock bands, heavy metal and stuff like that. And I moved here just to study for 6 months at MI. and go back to Spain and keep doing what I was doing, but in Madrid, and hopefully making more money than what I was making, and being a better musician.
Wow. So you were actually playing in heavy metal bands?
Yeah, that's my background.
Wow.
Dude, all
very
all the people
interesting,
that I listened to when I was growing up was Iron Maiden, Metallica, Slayer, Pantera. Huge fan of all those guys. But I was kind of like a weird guy into the heavy metal, my friends and stuff, because it's a very enclosed community. You know, they listen to kind of like, if you listen to Slayer, you listen to Slayer. You don't go like listen to Slayer and you listen to Héroes de Silencio, because that's for sissies, you know.
Are you serious, bro?
Yeah, there was like very hardcore in that sense. You know, you are really into heavy metal or you are not. Period. There's no like middle ground, or at least that was the way that it was in Spain. But to me, I was really into music. I was going to the conservatory. I was trying to be a well-rounded musician, so I was listening to a lot of different things. You know, I was listening to jazz too. I was listening to people like Manu Chao, to some rock in Espanol, but not that much. But I didn't like pop music in general. You know, there was like some bands like Beatles, Rolling Stones, and all that I was really sort of into. But my background really is instrumental rock music for guitar and heavy metal, and then all the other things that I was listening, because I went to college for musicology. I also, classical guitar and things like that, you know.
I think this is such a really cool experience. It's such a beauty, because you know what? I don't even think I remember having this conversation way before this podcast.
You have to see a picture of him during his metal.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Long hair?
Yo, big time.
Yeah,
No way.
I had like super long hair, and I had a goatee, and I had a piercing, and it was funny.
Dude, we need to get a picture of that.
Put it up on the
we
site,
have a
seriously.
picture on my Facebook. Several years ago, actually, someone threw me a party for my birthday, and they put that picture on top of the cake, and people freaked
Nice,
out because
man.
they thought it was Jesus. So they were like, we didn't think that this guy was. Yeah. So it was that look, totally. Long hair and, playing heavy metal. Actually, I recorded 2 albums in Spain with heavy metal bands, and that was my thing there.
Can you tell us what those bands were?
There was a band called Quasar. And that was the 2 albums that I did. And I did a lot of recordings for people. I was trying to become like a studio musician or, side musician for a lot of people. But they were all mainly alternative rock, heavy metal, trash kind of stuff.
This is really cool, man.
Yeah.
Very insight.
Well, with this little intro, we have your other band member who's a little bit quiet over here.
Yeah.
I'm compelled by a story. He didn't even finish it. But
Well, if I can have you guys, just so everyone knows
Sure.
who's talking, who's not, if I can have you guys introduce yourselves with your names real quick, and
Yeah, I'm Jose Hernandez.
you're the lead vocalist,
I'm
right?
the lead vocalist and guitar player.
I'm Steve Baltasar. I am the keyboard player.
I'm sorry to have sidetracked this just because people on the radio are probably going to be listening
Who are
and
these
going,
guys?
and going
So
okay,
good.
Yes, those-
who's talking, who's who?
Yeah.
But what about you, Steve? I mean, like, is there something we need to know? Were you like into metal, gothic, or anything before
No.
Sonsoles?
Are you into
I mean,
ballet,
me-
maybe?
Me playing keyboards, I don't know. I was always into electronic music. I was always into bands like Depeche Mode and OMD and all that electronic stuff from the 80s. And I still am a fan of that stuff. But I've always had a love for like rock en español. If you live in Los Angeles, you listen to K-Rock and you go to a club, and every time they put the K-Rock mix, they always put the rock en español mix. So
You know, that's very interesting that we talk about that, because here's one of the questions I would like to get into. But before this, rock en español, right? It seems like to me, everybody wants it. When everybody goes at a club, they go nuts, man. When the DJ hits like either
Héroes del Silencio.
Héroes or Enanitos, or everybody just goes freaking wild. Like, they love it.
right.
And I always ask myself, and like, him and I, with Hector, I ask, it's like, what do you think the problem is? How come you think radio doesn't support much of it? And because I think that it's already, like, all of those bands that they play, established, they're icons, but they need to pass the baton to somebody else now, we got to look for new talent.
Right.
But I don't see them. They're always playing the same songs over and over. What do you guys think about that? I mean,
I think that's a very LA thing, actually, because coming from Spain, when I got here and I went to clubs and I listened to Héroes and Hombres G being played at the clubs, I couldn't believe it, because in Spain nobody will do that. they would do that like as in a, like an 80s party sort of
Get out of
funny
here,
thing.
really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Nobody plays Hombres G, nobody plays Héroes or anything like that. Not even when Héroes were huge, people would play them that much because they were kind of like controversial. Actually, there is more like indie or more like contemporary, whatever bands are like hot at the time, which is something that I don't hear in LA, you know? I honestly don't know what are the bands out there, like in Mexico or in Argentina or whatever, that are being huge right now. And there's like a lot of interesting new talent out there, but you just don't hear that in the clubs here because people demand the classic stuff, you know?
You know what, though? I think it's kind of like a catch-22. They demand it because they haven't heard anything else that's catchier that they can dance to. And I think one of the biggest problems with a lot of, and I'll include myself in this, a lot of the Spanish rock bands is that we play music that's too fucking slow, dude. Like, it's just, it's like when people go to a club, they don't want to hear you crying about your girl leaving you. And that's what a lot of the Spanish rock bands do. They're very whiny, I guess you could say. It's not like a party, because if you see like Los Amigos Invisibles, dude, the fucking party blows off the hook when those guys are playing, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem with a lot of us as Spanish rock bands now, is that we need to make the party happen. And I don't know, that's just a perspective of what I'm seeing. And I do have to say that when you guys are playing on stage, I saw you guys at the Conga Room, that shit was off the hook, dude. Like, people were jumping up and down. And
thank you.
So, I mean, and I think that's part of the key, dude, of why you guys are being so successful right now as well. So
Thank you. We really try to make it good times for everybody coming to the shows because, you know, there's like some things related to the lyrics that we have and the music that we do and the reasons why we do that kind of music. And part of it is that we try to find middle ground. We know that our audience is very wide, that people in LA especially are like multicultural, multiracial, a lot of the people from all over the place, and we're trying to find the things that we have in common and have a good time with it, you know. We make music not to whine and not to talk about stuff that could be extremely personal. Hey, I'm gonna show everybody this thing that I didn't tell to anybody else. You know, I'm not about that. I'm more about trying to find something that you can relate to, and this guy can relate to, and someone else can relate to, and have fun with it, and still touch you somehow and have a good time. You know. But sorry, going back to what we were talking about of the rock and español bands. Actually, in LA, that happens too in the rock wall. Like, it's crazy. If you go to K-Rock and you check out the bands that they are playing, and you check out the bands that were playing 5 years ago, it's not much different.
Yeah, no,
then
you're right.
every year, there's like a new band that gets in the rotation. And the cool thing for that band is that they will keep playing them forever, you know? If
Kings
you
of
know,
Leon, bro, right there.
Yeah.
Perfect example.
Yeah. But and same thing with Latin rock in LA. You know, let's say that Kinky has a awesome song and all the cover bands start playing that and all the DJs start playing that. They will play that song for the next 10 years, you know, and that will become part of the usual repertoire, you know. So that's something.
But something even interesting with that, man, I actually really like Kinky. I like their stuff that they have. One of the things that I noticed is that even they haven't blown up to, you know, what I think the potential is at.
Where they should be.
And
Right.
even them, Los Amigos Invisibles, man, those guys to me are phenomenal musicians.
Yes.
Just some
they're
really
great.
cool shit. And you even hear a lot of other bands trying to mimic what Los Amigos Invisibles are doing.
Yes.
And it's like, wow, yeah, these guys are on, I've heard them like on Channel 5 News and stuff like that, the background music. And even movies with Kinky being in Man on Fire and all these things. But
Right.
they don't seem to get the kind of support that Maná and Jaguares and Héroes, you know, get out of the radio, out of the general media. So it's a very interesting thing. You know, I've never been to Spain, so I don't know, you know, what the club stuff down there is. But that's very interesting what you're saying, that, you know, that they would never play that. That's I don't know. That's news to me, you know, because I thought everywhere was kind of like, you know, what the...
No. Like, for example, Hombres G are widely hated. Like, you know?
Really?
Yeah, like,
What?
like, dude, it was like the more fresa shit that you could listen to. Like, my sisters used to listen. Like, saying like Hombres G in Spain are like saying here the Jonas Brothers.
Get the hell out of
yeah,
here.
dude, I'm not kidding.
Wow.
I actually couldn't believe that they were so famous here because I couldn't believe it. It was shocking to me to go to a club and listen to Sufre Mamon. I'm like, what the fuck? Are you
That's
kidding
kind
me?
of like that is a fun song though. You know, I mean, it's
Oh, this guy's into gay
lyrics are
stuff.
kinda
So
No, but it could. But you know, when you don't have the cultural background maybe that I have with
I
the
guess-
story with Hombres G, you know,
I guess, but you know what? I have always been into metal myself too. Like, you know, my first album ever was Pink Floyd, The Wall. I mean, this is classic rock. But then I went into, you know, I got Iron Maiden and so on. Then I actually discovered rock en español in the mid 90s. You know, that's when I discovered it, but not by listening to it. I discovered it because I was reading a small little article on Modern Drummer magazine, and they were talking about my nah. But I mean, that's a whole different. And then that kind of led to kind of like where I'm at today. You know, it became a fan of it, but I do enjoy it every time. You know, that I go to a club and they play it. It's like it's always pretty refreshing, even though it's
Yeah.
like fresa.
No,
but-
me too, dude. I like it, and again, you know, I come from that background too, you know, and it was funny when I moved here, I didn't know like 80% of the bands. Actually, like I didn't know who La Ley was. I didn't know who Soda Stereo was because a lot of those bands never made it huge in Spain. So actually, through Caesar and these guys, they started talking. Oh, dude, you know, you need to listen to this guy and Phobia and this and that. And
They pretty
and
much
that's-
gave you the rock en español 101.
yeah, I like, for example, when I listened to La Negra Tomasa for the first time, I thought they were kidding me. I'm like, there's no way that young people listen to this shit. I couldn't believe that because in Spain, only like my grandmother will listen to cumbia or something like similar to cumbia. And then, you know, it has taken me a while to understand how important culturally that kind of music it is here, you know, or Latino, like Chicano stuff, you know, like La Santa Cecilia and all that stuff. I can see the value now of what they do, you know. But when I came here, my experience with that kind of music is that only older people do that. And the crowd for that kind of music is only way older people, like my parents are older, you know. So it was a very interesting change, you know. But coming from the background from Spain, I can see that there people playing the radio what is new, what is hot, what, you know, the hottest songs of alternative bands, of a lot of different styles that are way more, you know, trendy.
But
you
see,
know, and here the trendy concept doesn't apply to LA because it's not, you know.
the difference I find here, it goes back to the media. Since in Spain they speak Spanish, and I mean, not that we don't speak Spanish here in the U.S., but I mean, most of the media is in English here in the U.S. And you have a few that are Spanish, but even they kind of cater more towards like the regional Mexican music, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And I was actually talking to a few bands when I went to the LAMC in New York. They had the exact same problem, but their problem there was salsa and merengue. And then like you talk to other people in Miami, and they're like, yeah, a lot of I forgot what other genre they were talking about, but the regional genre there for like Cuban music was
Tropical.
like, yeah, you go
Tropical.
tropical, and that was what the radio station. So it's almost like that's kind of the problem because they're catering to the I guess you could say the immigrant culture and in all these specific different places and
Kind of catering to the demographics of 40 and up, not necessarily to the youth.
Yeah, that's what I would. But even with the youth, a lot of the youth now, dude, you're driving down Santa Ana over here, and they're bumping up corridos, and you're like,
That
You're like,
totally
what the
blows me away, dude. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Well, that
And-
probably comes from their parents, though. You know what I mean?
yeah, but I mean, don't get me wrong. I listen to corridos as well,
Right.
but you don't hear me thumping that shit up and thinking I'm looking cool down on 4th Street in Santa Ana. You know, like I don't know. It's just it's an interesting situation, and I think that like the media. Not that I want to blame the media because they're only doing whatever sells, whatever's you know getting revenue. It's a business, but I think the media has a little bit to do with it. But the really cool shit about this is that there's people like, you know, I actually listened to Radio Babel just recently, and I really dug the musicians he was putting on. I was like, wow, man, finally I get to hear this band that I've never heard of, but this is actually some pretty cool music, and you never get to hear that in any of the outlets,
Commercial radio.
commercial radio. So I think that's the key for all up and coming bands is the alternative media. It's blowing up, man. It really is, and it's pretty fucking cool if you ask me. You know.
So let's talk about you guys a little bit more though now. So how did it all started out? You know, who is the main writer? And obviously you guys come from different backgrounds, like, you know, Steve,
Right.
like Depeche Mode, Jose also from like the metal. And how did you guys come into writing what Sonsoles is nowadays, which is not a metal band or an electric
by any means,
by
right?
any means. I mean, but it's fun music.
Yeah.
So I mean, can you guys tell us about that?
Well, everybody from the band has different tastes in music. You know, Lonnie, he likes more of the like,
White.
yeah, like white music, like John Mayer, like that kind of stuff, singer-songwriter stuff. Sorry, Lonnie.
Un saludo, Lonnie. We love you.
And then Caesar has always had a love for like rock en español and all that type of stuff. So even though I think what happened with us is that we all have different tastes of music, but I think we all at one point we all share the love of music for Latin rock. You know, that's what we have in common. So because of that, we're able to sort of gel well and make music together.
Yeah, I think conceptually, it was difficult for me to. It's not difficult for me to understand that if we put together different influences, the result is gonna sound different than all of them. You know, because it's not gonna sound like rock, it's not gonna sound like Latin, it's not gonna sound like. It's gonna be a hybrid of all those things. You know, so. You try to understand, like, why are we doing this and what's the point? And to me, the answer was that throughout all the time that we were together, we always try to look for good songs. Because to me, the music as evolves and as the media evolves and as the way that we listen to music evolves, you see that people don't listen to styles in particular. People actually listen to good songs. If you get somebody's iPod, you know, and you check out the songs, you get La Negra Tomasa, and then you get Enter Sandman, and then you get the Black Eyed Peas, or you might get some stuff that 10 years ago was crazy to find in someone's record collection. But nowadays, people listen to music differently. We just like good songs. So I thought, dude, I want to write good songs. And based on the influences that we have, let's try to follow the path of whatever song we're writing and try to make it the best of it. That's why when we play our shows, we have a song that is like Mientras Te Vas, for example, that actually has a lot of southern rock in it. And I was very hesitant of having that song in Sonsoles because I didn't think that it was going to fit. And then we have Escapar, that is like all that Santana, Maná kind of stuff. And then we have Prisionero, that is more like Amigos Invisibles, funk kind of influence and all that. And when we were writing each of those songs, we weren't thinking of, oh, we have to have a particular style. We were just thinking, if we make a good song, people will listen to it. And that's kind of like what we follow right now with the different songwriting, you know, of the different songs.
Right.
Well, if you guys can tell us a little bit of your recent success, because I believe it was on your guys' page that you guys opened up for a pretty big band just recently. And I was like, wow, man, that's it's pretty impressive that you guys are at least at a band here in Los Angeles. We're in Orange County, but here in Southern California, I guess you could say, that it's actually been given the opportunity to be able to open up for these legends, which was something that me and Christian were talking about that doesn't really happen. And that's like the spear of everything. You guys are, you know, cutting into this situation and opening up the door a little bit. So if you guys can tell us a little bit about that experience and how you guys maybe got there.
Well,
that's exactly what I was talking about.
That hasn't happened yet.
It's
going to be in a couple of weeks, though.
Oh, my bad. Because I saw a picture
but
up there.
It's confirmed, and also we are confirmed for Triton Festival.
Okay, and you guys, can you guys maybe tell us then about the Reventon thing? I mean, obviously you guys
Definitely.
did that. So.
That, you know, for the last 5 months we've been working on writing music, and we were focused on writing music. And then all of a sudden, this contest about Reventon showed up, and I had no idea what was going on. And we submitted the songs, and they're like, oh, yeah, Reventon. And we made it to semifinals, and we started seeing the chance of actually winning. and we ended up winning the competition for Super Estrella, which we
Cool.
feel very, very lucky about. So we got the great chance to actually open at Staples Center for Julieta Venegas, Moderato. Well, you saw that.
That's
Mikel Erenchun and all that. So that was like a really cool thing.
What
you
was
know?
that like, man?
Yeah,
What was that
exactly.
high like? Like being there in front of like.
Is that like doing 2 lines of coke, or I mean, what is it
No,
like?
yeah, right.
To me personally, it still hasn't even soaked in yet because right after we won the finals, like boom, the Reventon was 2 days after. So like I wish we had a couple of days just for it to soak in, and like, and it still hasn't for me. I think it's just going to be one of those things like months from now I have to reflect and be like, holy shit, like we did this,
Yeah.
because
Yeah, I go back to the pictures and I keep smiling like an
Yeah,
idiot, dude.
It's the same thing, like I see the pictures that you guys posted. Like obviously you guys were there a day before the event doing sound check, and you see the inside of Staples Center, right? And I see it and I smile. I'm like, fuck, I know those guys,
That's awesome, man.
And it's very happy. I'm very thrilled, happy for you guys for that success. But I'm like, I wonder what it was like for them. If I'm so excited to see someone I know, what was it like for them being there? Man? Like,
intimidating. I was nervous as hell, dude.
I didn't sleep the night before. I couldn't sleep at all. I was thinking of stupid stuff like my pedals and the cables and everything is gonna work and what am I gonna say, and we didn't even know how many songs we were gonna play or what songs we were gonna play,
Right.
and you are trying to get people like like our families, like how are we gonna get them in for the wristbands, all the logistics. You are just thinking of all those things because it was, like Steve said, very, very quick,
I'm sorry.
No, go for it.
I remember a couple of weeks ago, we went to go see Juanes at the Hollywood Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And Juanes comes out, the first song starts to start, and as soon as he starts singing, you couldn't hear him. The vocals are like, his mic is not on or something. For the full first song, you couldn't hear him at all. And everyone in the audience is like, blah, 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 blah. So he starts going into the second song and nothing. You still can't hear his vocals, and he's still singing, and then finally decides to stop the show. So I looked at Jose, I think, and dude, I am so glad that didn't happen to us at the Staples Center.
Because we will look like shit, If that happens to Juan, it is cool. But no, but
Let me ask you this: before you guys played Staples Center, what was the largest crowd you guys have played to?
I'm not quite sure. We played a couple of really cool gigs, but definitely not that size. We played like Viva Los Dodgers. We played the Sunset Junction Festival. But let's say that 1,000, 2,000 people, maybe something like that.
I mean, like if you did perform at the Sunset Junction, that's probably easy over like 5,000 people, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and then I understand you guys also did a show in Chicago in 2008, 2007.
Right.
Yeah.
But
that wasn't that crowd. Like the Chicago shows that
Was
we
that
played was
inside
more
or
like
outside?
local. No, they were more like local, like the regular local gigs here.
Like
it
the
wasn't like a
Stardust
big
of
gig.
Chicago.
Yeah,
nice.
sort of.
Because I thought I don't know, for some reason I was under the impression that you guys have won some sort of a contest to go to perform in Chicago.
No. We won the contest of Fiesta Broadway here
what it is.
in Los Angeles, and then one of the promoters of that show offered us to play some shows in Chicago, so he took us to Chicago and played a couple of shows. But they were more like local gigs. Actually, that was funny. That was another story with promoters. Like everybody has gone through sour times, and we flew to Chicago under the idea that we were gonna open for Enanitos Verdes.
Oh, wow.
And what happened? I want to hear this.
We ended up playing in a club, like the first band when nobody was there and all that shit. And we were like, okay, Chicago is cool, but this is not what we came for.
How did that happen?
Well,
They just told you you're playing for Enanitos Verdes?
Yeah,
Like,
we had the promise that we were
Enanitos
going to
Verdes.
do that and blah, blah. And dude, yeah, I
Now
know.
you said there was
So
like
I'm gonna
nothing
get
in
it.
writing. There was no contract for that. It was just
No, those are things that you learn, for now, and after that time, it was like,
you guys stopped working with that promoter then after
definitely. Yeah, definitely.
that? Or? Because there are a lot of shady ass promoters, dude. Like, here in LA, dude, there's so, like, they tell you one thing and you show up and you're like, dude, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
What is this?
That has happened to us too. I mean, we played a lot of gigs in these 4 years. We played all kinds of places, like a lot of the local bands here, and we run into some stupid situations like that, like showing up to Mr. T's Ball in Highland Park to find out that we were the only band. You know, when there were supposed to be like 5 bands and radio and blah, 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 and the promoter is nowhere to be found. And actually, you know, that show was actually cool because it was my birthday. So it ended up being almost like a birthday party with all the people that came to see us. So we had a good time, you know. We tried to make it better. But yeah, we ran into a lot of those situations here.
Yeah, that's the problem, man. Like, you know, I took the role of a promoter. And it's pretty tough, man. It's really tough. I mean, if you guys remember, we did a tour. We went did a small tour.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Bakersfield and
with La Santa Cecilia and Velorio.
Yeah, so that was
good times.
That was pretty cool. It was a cool little thing, you know. And it was starting to fall off. Like the wheels were starting to fall off. I was getting ready to pull out, but things came through, and we ended up, you know, making it happen. And I think it was a pretty successful
we got
tour.
Really good memories from those gigs, and it was cool, man. It was
yeah. I know that Bakersfield still, you know, they really did enjoy you guys a lot. You guys have any plans to go back over there?
Right now, we are not really focused on pursuing gigs out of LA. We are trying to move some other things, some other opportunities that we have on the table. You know, like. We are working on a video for Sonsoles. We have these gigs coming that are, you know, they're kind of cool. We're going to open for Jarabe de Palo. We're going to play Triton. And there's also, like, we've been writing music for a while, and we are really focused on that. So we are not pursuing gigs out of LA. I think that will come when there's, like, a big purpose for it. If we get, you know, some media, some local radio stations or something like that to play our music in those places, so we make sure that whenever we go there, we're gonna have a good response. You know, that's kind of like where we are right now, what we are thinking.
Now that you guys have kind of blown up a little bit with La Super Estrella, kind of giving you guys the opportunity to play you guys on the radio, which was pretty cool as well. And I saw you guys, you know, were doing some promotions on there. Have any record labels come up to you guys? Have you guys had any of those opportunities? And if you have, I mean, do you guys want to get signed, or is it more of an indie kind of like do-it-yourself kind of a thing as of right now?
Actually, we got a couple of people talking about it, but with record companies thing, you never know. And I'm sure that a lot of bands here in LA have been approached by someone saying, "Hey, I'm very important, and I know so and so." So we've got that kind of approaches, but nothing serious right now that we can say that is leading to something. We are really open-minded about what the next thing is going to be. I think everybody's trying to figure out if the best choice is go with a record company or do it yourself. And I think, you know, based on the specific music that you do and the time and things like that, one option or the other will make sense, you know. Right now, we are just working with our manager, Rosemary Jimenez. She's been great at helping us with all these things, and right now we are not pursuing, you know.
Okay. No, I was just wondering if, you know, with that kind of boost, if you had labels coming out and asking or you know, being interested, because I would assume that, you know, somebody would be interested at this point.
Absolutely, and I'm sorry, because I actually thought the same thing. I'm like, you know, this is a great opportunity for Sonsoles that are opening up this, you know, huge concert, and like by all the media people and like all the record label executives and everyone being in there, I figure like, wow, okay, they're gonna look into them. It's kind of a shocker that, you know, it hasn't really quite happened, but I'm sure it will though.
Well, I can tell you that playing Reventon has opened some doors, definitely. Yeah. And now when we go anywhere and we talk to someone, we are like, hey, you know, this is what we've done this, we played this gig and all that. People have a much better reception, you know. It's been very useful. It's been really cool, very useful, and I think it's going to stay there forever, you know, for us. But what I was saying too when people asked me before playing Reventon, like, how do you feel about playing Reventon? I'm like, well, I'm more worried about what's going to happen the Monday after. Right. Because we need to keep working, and this doesn't guarantee anything. I mean, it's cool to play a great gig, but how many great bands or how many local bands have played a really cool gig? But if you don't keep working and working and working, that doesn't mean anything, you know? That will be like a highlight in your history, but if you are serious about it, you need to find smart and different ways to use it in your best behalf, and that's kind of like what we're trying to figure out right now.
The CD that you guys have out right now, is that a new CD that you released, or is that older material that you might have? I'm just wondering, you know.
Older material.
It's older material?
Yeah, it's material that's been written about 2 years ago now, right?
Yep.
And that was when we were collaborating with the rapper MC.
Oh, wow.
How did that come about? You know, can you take us back into that? I mean, and I understand now you have no rapper, right?
Well, we've always had like a revolving kind of open door for anyone who wanted to contribute for the band, depending on the song. And we had this one song back in the day, Amor Prohibido, that it's kind of a Middle Eastern song.
Which is actually one of my coolest songs, you know.
That's right. That's the songs with the belly dancers.
You remember
yes,
when
we keep playing that song in every show. Yeah.
And that song, we had a rapper do something at the end of the song, and got great reaction from the audience. After that, we were like, well, let's keep writing more music with let's keep collaborating with the rapper. And so one song turned into 2 songs, turned into 3 songs. And at one point, he was part of the band. Since then, he's relocated, and we keep going. And so, but it's the same thing. We've had a violinist contribute to the band before. You know, we have a percussionist who plays with us. So, I mean, we've always been sort of open to having.
Yeah, we've been very open about the style that we are playing. If we think that it's a good song, we just try to develop to its best, you know. And in the past, we were collaborating with a rapper, so that door was always open. And we try to include him as much as possible in the songs.
¿Han pensado ustedes en escribir música en inglés o solamente en español?
Pues tenemos alguna canción en crossover, haciendo en inglés y en español, pero todavía no la hemos sacado.
Okay.
Pero en lo nuevo que hemos estado escribiendo y tal, sí hay algo más de inglés, pero yo diría que el 90% en español.
Okay.
¿Esta canción es un cover o es original de ustedes?
Es un original. Yeah.
¿La escucharemos muy pronto?
Ojalá. Estamos en proceso. Tenemos algunas canciones que hemos trabajado ahí. De hecho, tenemos como unos 20 temas que hemos compuesto últimamente que no han salido todavía. Y estamos intentando ver cómo vamos a hacerlo. Puede que decidamos hacer solamente 1 o 2 en plan single y saquemos solo canciones separadas. Puede que intentemos hacer un álbum. But again, you know, the industry, like going back to what we said about record companies, things change so much that you don't even know if the best thing to do is pursuing a record company or pursuing an album. Like a lot of bands just release EPs because just one song will take you there, you know. Right. And people, why are you going to record 12 songs where you know that 4 are awesome, but the other ones, you like them because you wrote them, but you're not too... You know that they are not going to be singles. Why are you going to do that, you know?
But you know, nowadays also, most of the bands are going into the old formats, like, you know, of the 50s, where they're just releasing one single and keeping.
Well, that's the smartest thing, because
they're kind of keeping active as far as like, okay, we're gonna release a single, but before we release the other one, we're gonna give you a little taste of what we're doing. Because nobody listens to records nowadays. I guess, I mean, me, myself, I do.
Yeah.
I'm probably an old guy, you know, but I mean, I really do love, like, you know...
smelling the paper, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy everything, like, you know, from the book cover to putting in the CD on the disc tray now. I mean, I don't have any vinyls, but...
liner notes.
But, I mean, I do enjoy listening to the whole album. It's a great... I mean, to me, it's a great experience, but, like, you know, going industry-wise... Everything's changing. You know, maybe that's something you guys might want to do. Like, you know, release one album, one song, and keep feeding people, like, you know, a little taste of Sonsoles, you know, before releasing the next one.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out what makes sense, which I think is what everybody's trying to figure out too, you know. And again, what makes sense depends so much in what you do in particular, that what makes sense for me might not make sense for another local band, you know.
True.
So,
si nos puedes platicar entonces cómo está la escena de rock en español en España comparado aquí en los clubs, cuando tocan, como si fueras a tocar tú en España. Sé que no eres psíquico, pero ¿cómo está la situación comparada aquí? Porque aquí muchas de las veces vas una vez y hay 200 personas y luego vas otra vez y hay 10 y nunca sabes cómo va a estar la situación. ¿Está similar en España o...?
Yo creo que más o menos sí, es parecido, con la diferencia de que España es en general, la gente es un poco más sociable, no hay tanto como aquí, que la gente está manejando a todos los sitios, va conduciendo a todos los sitios y no tiene ese contacto humano, ¿no? En España muchísima gente no conduce, simplemente va andando a todos los sitios, hay más contacto de uno a uno, ¿no? Y hay más relaciones sociales. Entonces, cuando tienes un show, tienes la capacidad de decírselo cara a cara a mucha más gente y atraer más gente a tus shows. Entonces, si eres una banda local, puede que atraigas más público. También las ciudades son más pequeñas. Cuando hay un show, no compites con Maná, como pasa en Los Ángeles, ¿no? Es que en Los Ángeles es tan difícil porque cuando tú tocas, compites con tus amigos que tienen hijos que no pueden venir porque el babysitter, no sé qué. Tus amigos que van a ver el show en el Staples Center. Tus amigos que van a ver el show en el Gibson. Tus amigos que van a ver un show... Hay tantísimos shows, hay tantas oportunidades de ver algo que merezca la pena, que estás compitiendo con todo eso, ¿no? En España, especialmente en la ciudad donde yo vengo, eso no ocurría, ¿no? A nadie se le ocurre hacer un show el mismo día que una banda grande toca en tu ciudad, porque sabes que no va a ir nadie, ¿no?
Yeah.
Entonces siempre pones tus shows en momentos en el que tú eres la única banda prácticamente que toca en la ciudad. Entonces sí, se llena, hay 100, 200 personas, lo que haya, ¿no? Pero también lo bueno de estar aquí en Los Ángeles es que hay veces que tocas un show para 10 personas, pero si son las 10 personas que van a dar van a hablar bien de ti, o puede que esas 10 personas, pues uno sea un productor, uno sea un ingeniero de sonido que conoce a un productor, alguien de una discográfica, eso sí que puede ocurrir aquí, y eso yo sé que en España prácticamente no ocurre, ¿no? Aquí siempre está la oportunidad.
Eso me ha pasado a mí, que he tocado en un bar, cierran los bars aquí en Orange County a las 2 de la mañana. Nosotros éramos el único grupo a las 1:30 de la mañana. Había, voy a decir, unas 6 personas. Y pues ya estamos allí con todo el equipo, ya que no vamos a tocar. Nos subimos al escenario, tocamos, y después 2 de esas personas eran promotores que estaban allí. Wow. No nos llevó a la parte donde queríamos ir con esos promotores, pero de todos modos, tienes razón, nunca sabes quién te está escuchando en estas partes, aunque sea 1 o 2 personas que estén allí. A lo mejor son las personas que de veras quieres que te escuchen. Entonces, aparte de que nada más haya esas 1 o 2 personas, posiblemente son la oportunidad más grande de tu carrera en ese punto, ¿no?
Eso es, por eso es tan importante, y eso es lo que intentamos nosotros, es tan importante que cuando toques un show, no importa que haya 100 personas, que haya 5, que haya lo que sea, intentes dar lo mejor de ti, ¿no? Porque no sabes nunca quién te está mirando, ¿no? Y eso es algo que admiro también de muchas bandas de aquí de Los Ángeles, de la escena local. Vas a ver shows al Roberto's, a Bordello, a cualquier sitio, ¿no? Y ves muchas bandas que a pesar de que no haya 100 personas o 200, están dando ahí todo, ¿no? Y eso está muy bien, merece mucho la pena ver.
Ahora, una de las cosas también que presiento que ha sido muy divertido es los shows que ustedes han participado en Rock the Boat.
Oh, yeah.
Se miran que yo no he tenido la oportunidad de ir a verlos a ese evento, pero parece de que it's the perfect show, you know, to be.
Fans can't run away or what?
No. I mean, just you're in a boat, you have live music, you're along the beach, you're cruising on the beach.
That is a perfect scenery.
Anything can happen in there, right? But you guys had what, 2 sold-out shows?
This is the third one.
The third or fourth time that we play there, yeah.
Wow, man.
A lot of fun. Those shows are always a lot of fun.
They look pretty intimate too, you know, because like the crowd is just there and...
Yeah, it's a great time to see the band or any band that is playing, but also to hang out with the people that comes to see you, because everybody's having a great time, you know. It's like a party boat. You play your show, then you go hang out with everybody, and it's cool. Big shout out to our friend Andrew for putting that together and calling us for that. He's a really cool guy. Actually, we like it so much.
Sorry, he's always been the same promoter?
Yeah.
He has one every month, once a month during the summertime.
Oh, okay.
We like those shows so much that when we did the CD release party, we did it at the boat.
Yeah.
That was our CD release party show. So
very cool.
Yeah.
With you guys, with working with promoters, do you guys work with one promoter or just a few of them, or how do you guys work that angle as a band?
We kind of like
we work with any promoter, but we know the ones not to work with.
Exactly.
All right, right after the podcast, you just can write those names down for me so I know.
I'm sure people already know.
everybody knows.
You know, like everybody knows some people that get a good reputation and some other ones that don't. And
When your band developed, and I guess this is like looking at it from a perspective of another band, when your band is developing into, getting these bigger and bigger and bigger shows, did you guys like set out a plan and say, okay, this is what we're going to do? Or was it just like, it just started to happen? Or how did you guys start?
Like, do you have
to
any
grow?
guidelines or anything, any structure?
we are getting better at that. For a long time, the only thing that was really driving us was the passion of playing our music, So you are just happy to play a lot of these gigs. And naturally, you start getting better gigs just because you've been playing for a while.
From one person to another, you start to meet people. And
Then it takes a time that you are like, if we are doing this, let's make it with some sense. And around that time, we met our manager, Rosemary Jimenez, and she's been extremely helpful, helping us on making sense, having a better website, having a better way of
really
communicating.
nice, by the way.
Thank you. man.
It's really cool.
Thank
It's I like it a lot. Even like some of the little comments that people have
Oh yeah, those
wrote about you guys and
Those
stuff.
are
It's really cool.
I think those are made up, no?
Yeah.
No,
Actually,
but
our
did you
friend.
guys, how did you guys meet your manager? Was it like at a club, or did she approach you guys? Or
We played a show opening for Poncho Sanchez,
oh, okay.
and she was in the audience, and she liked the band so much that decided to become a manager because she wasn't a manager. She had an extensive experience in radio, and she's worked at top level with radio stations and stuff, and as a radio producer. So she understands a lot of dynamics related to music and things like that. One thing that she has done, going back to what we're talking about of goals and things like that, is helping us to put together a team of people that has helped us a lot, and they're supporting us and they believe in us, and we are very lucky to have, And shout out to Patricia. Yeah, I wanted to give a little shout out to Patricia de la Rosa, Stephanie Mondelo, Rodolfo, and Erika, Vanessa. We have, like these
All
friends
females,
and
man.
actually, yeah.
That's nice.
I guess that's the key, huh?
No, we are super lucky, dude, that these friends are helping us, and they are really talented people. I mean, our photographer, our
She's
people
really
helping
nice,
us.
by the way.
Yeah.
Eso está muy interesante de que hables acerca de eso, porque se me hace que muchos de los grupos no realizan de que sí necesitas un equipo detrás de ti, de que te ayuden desde alguien que esté vendiendo la mercancía,
Yeah.
hasta un fotógrafo, alguien que esté grabando lo que está pasando, alguien que esté chequeando que el sonido todo esté bien, porque si no tienes ese equipo, las cosas pueden salir muy mal. Y,
Claro, no.
está interesante que hables también acerca de
No,
eso.
pero también es bueno porque ellos creen en ti y tienen esa pasión, tanto como los músicos de ustedes. Ellos, quieren.
Sienten la misma pasión.
Yeah, they feel like they have the same passion for you guys, and they want the best things happen for you guys. So
Yeah.
it's really nice, man, that you guys actually have this.
That's
street
actually
team.
one thing that I see very powerful in local bands. That we all have a lot of passion, and we have a big weapon, and it's the ability to inspire people in a city like Los Angeles that are so talented, because you run into talented people all the time, people that are into movies, into video and all that. They could help you if you inspire them and they feel like, hey, this guy can do something and he makes sense and I like his music and all that. You have that power, and definitely all these bands, Maná, Kinky and all that, they are not a band. They are a team of a lot of people. A lot of those people get paid to do their job, but a lot of those people do it because they fucking love what they do,
Yeah.
And
Well, that with you saying that, I think when you get your team together, for me, you take it to a different level, because then at that point, it's no longer this is what we do to go get fucked up and go drink some beer.
yeah,
Right.
It's like, no, this is what I want to at some point get paid for, and I want to eat from this situation.
Well, I think that's the ultimate dream. Like,
Well, not
to
for everybody
basic-
though. I
Well,
mean,
to basically live off of your art, your music. I mean, like if I get paid the same amount that I get paid at my regular day job,
oh no, of
I
course,
quit.
I'd rather.
It's like
Yeah,
I would rather play music. That would be my job.
See, now you threw me off. Well, now I don't even remember what I was gonna say now.
No, I think it's important to have that people there also to remind you that you have to give back to them. You
Yeah.
know, because
Absolutely, yeah.
and things like this that happened to us, like Reventon and all that, those were great opportunities for us to give back to those people. So when people ask me, "Are you nervous about it?" I'm like, "I'm not nervous. I owe all these people that have been supporting me not to be nervous. I owe them to fucking go on stage and rock the stage. I owe them to them because they work helping me so much that I have to give back to them. And I need to win this thing, and I need to play staples, and I need them to at least get the reward of feeling proud that their work is valuable, and is doing something."
Okay, and this is, I guess, something I always ask the bands that come in. What could you tell all the musicians that are listening out there? Like, there was one key that you guys found that you're like, oh shit, this is working, or you got to make sure to do this in order to succeed. Because I mean, I think you guys are succeeding, and even if bands don't, and this is something really cool that I really admired from Profecia, from Freddie, is that it doesn't matter what genre, man. It doesn't matter if I like your music or if I don't like your music. It's art. I mean, different people are going to like different things, but you still have to respect the band for the professionality.
What they're achieving.
Yeah, what they're achieving. And I really have to tell you, man, that you guys are inspirational to other bands, even myself. I mean, just to see where you guys are going, man, it's like, fuck, this shit can be done, man. It really can. So, I mean, what would you tell the musicians that are listening, like, that one thing that you can say, you know what, I did this and this worked?
Oh, no. You want to answer to that?
Focus. You got to focus, I think. Focus, for me at least. Focus. You got to make sure everybody's in the same page. Your band members, you guys are all like going same path. You got to sacrifice. A lot of the cliche kind of things, but it works. I don't.
Yeah, actually, a year ago we were in a much different situation. We were going through a little bit of a rough time, and we realized that we were in the same page. We were in the same book. Like people had. Each of us wanted to succeed doing music, but everybody had different ways to do it. And we were having a lot of problems with communication, and that in a band is key, Yes. So it's important to understand where everybody's at and have a very open dialogue of where your next goals are, and make sure that everybody is coming along and is understanding what the next thing is and is agreeing with that. Because in a band, you got to get very passionate, and your drummer will try to do this, and your bass player will try to do that. And if they are not pushing in the right direction, they will break the band. You need to make sure that everybody is a solid unity in a team.
And have you guys come? Because I came to a pretty big realization of you have to put in money to make some money. I mean, you can play music for so long where it's just a hobby, but if you're trying to make it your profession, I think you have to invest, and you have to invest in merchandising. Have you guys had any, problems at all with like raising money or stuff like that, or, are you guys all?
We'll come to problems every now and then, but we kind of try to have fund or something, like the band fund monthly. A lot of the money that we get for gigs, we
reinvest it.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, because I mean that's one of the biggest problems that I've found with even our band. I mean, just printing stickers, man. You're like, okay, well the stickers are $150,
Yes.
and I saw your guys' flyer, the little thing that you guys were passing out at the Conga Room. That shit was badass.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
And to print something out like that so people can take home and see, oh wow, these are the Sonsoles, and you turn it around and there's your website and your web information,
Yes.
Your management. That all costs money, and you have to have it if you want to be a professional.
Absolutely.
So I mean, a lot of us bands, we run into that problem where we're like, well, how am I going to fund this? Like, I make $8 an hour,
Yeah.
So it's I'm just saying.
Sometimes you just gotta dig in the pocket. Seriously.
No, yeah, we pay, each of us pays some money a month for the rent and minor expenses for the band. Pretty much all the money that we make out of shows gets reinvested in the band. Like the only
stickers.
times that we get any compensation out of the shows that we play is that once a year we have the Sonsoles dinner, where we want and we treat ourselves to a dinner, and our friends and people like in this close team of people that has helped us. Or once in a while we had a business meeting and we decided to pay it with we go to a Denny's or something and we pay the bill with Sonsoles money. But money is a huge limitation. I wish we had all those
bigger funding,
money enough as to have, for example, things as simple as monitors in the studio, in the recording, in the rehearsal studio, or things like that.
One thing that does look, and I think that this is, really important for us to make sure that the only ones that know about the finance, I guess, is the band themselves. Because, like, when you go up on stage, and I saw you guys perform at the Conga Room, it just looked pro, dude. It didn't look like, hey, this band is having problem with money. This guy was dressed pretty sharp, and I'm serious. Like, you don't realize that as a band that, like, your financial aspect, like, you got to make sure you look fly up on stage, and you're passing out those flyers. Who cares if you had to borrow the money, But those flyers are going out, and people are going, fuck, these guys are professional. Holy shit. Like, they have a great design. The guys, he's looking sharp. I guess these guys are pro. Where's their CDs? I think that's what, like, it trickles down to,
Yeah.
But it's just very interesting to see your guys' perspective on money situations as well, and not that I want to put you guys, in the hot seat or anything, but it's just, like, from another band perspective, it's like, wow, okay, so everyone has, this money situation.
Everybody goes through those relations.
Again, we've been really lucky having these friends and our manager are helping us. Like the pictures that you see, the website and all that, that's all, like, help from people in our team that are helping us to succeed and to look like that and all that. And I'm glad that you like it, and because I think they're gonna feel very happy with you saying that.
It starts from people. Like, if you don't have a friend that's a photographer, like, and you want pictures from a show, you ask your sister or someone and say, your job here is just to take pictures, and it'll be from gig to gig, and you always have someone asking you, who takes your pictures? I can take better pictures than that or whatever. And you're like, well, we can't pay you, but like.
Well, and you know what? Something else that's very, very interesting about that is that I always I had this idea that it costs too much money for me to be able to afford it, and I came to the realization with I'll give you a quick example. Our last CD that the first CD that we put out as Experimento 56, the cover, it's pretty shitty, man. I'm just gonna be straight up. Our cover's pretty shitty. When people were picking it up, they thought it was like corridos, and it's like,
wow.
Well, that's not what I wanted to. So it was a really big mistake on my end. However, the reason it kind of came out like that was because I didn't ask, because I thought it would cost too much money to have a professional really design the CD cover.
Right.
And then I met this really cool guy for our next CD. Actually, Christian introduced me to him. Go ahead if you want to say his name.
Rick.
All right.
Oh, you
Rick
can't
Perez.
go wrong with. I thought you were talking about
Well.
Jester.
Jester FX.
Oh, that's photography though.
Oh, okay.
But,
No, well, Ricardo, this other guy that Christian introduced me to, he makes some badass designs, dude. And I'm
basically
like,
the guy that does the logos for me, the
Oh,
flyers,
okay. Nice.
all of
And
those flyers.
I always thought it was too expensive for me to be able to afford it, but I think that we need to realize that just ask. Like, literally just ask, because some people would be like, well, who are you? Oh, I play in this band. I don't have that much cash, but... And they'll just be like, you know what, man? Fuck it, I'll do it for $50, or I'll do it for this, and for whatever price they decide to do it. And sometimes it's like really good. Thousands of dollars, like for graphics that look badass, and you're like, I never thought I would be able to afford that. But it's like, just ask,
Exactly.
So exactly like what you said, ask your sister or your cousin just to take photos. Sometimes just asking, you end up getting some really cool shit. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Also,
there's so much
as far as
talent
like
here.
I just wanted to say this: as when you guys played at the Conga Room before the Reventon, what you guys were doing, passing out those little stickers, with your info and so on, it was very helpful, because when I was going back home, actually going back to my car, I see this little group of people. And it was like really cool. It was the coolest thing
This
ever.
was at the parking lot at El Reventon, or where?
No, not at Reventon. This is leaving the Conga Room.
Oh, the Conga
When they announced them as
Oh, okay,
that they were
yeah.
that they were gonna perform there. The coolest thing was that those little flyers, those little stickers made an impact because there was a group of people going back to their cars and they were talking about you guys.
Oh, wow.
That was the
Cool.
coolest shit ever, man.
Nice.
And again, it was like I was very excited because again, I'm thinking, man, I actually know those guys.
This guy's all
I know those
starstruck.
guys, you know, and
That's cool,
it
man.
was really cool. It was wholly like people were that they had a blast. They enjoy their music. They dug you guys. They dig you guys. Very cool. Now, okay, I'm like, okay, that's really cool. Get in my car. I'm driving down on Figueroa, to catch the freeway. Then I see another couple that was there. They kind of wave. It was like, a husband and wife, I guess. And and so I waved back again. Hey, you guys were over at the conga room. It's like, yeah. So I had to ask. I go, hey, so who was the favorite band? Oh, Sonsoles. It was Sonsoles. That was like
And
number
actually,
one.
he
That
had
was-
told me that, actually. That's a true story.
that's
He's
so
not
cool,
making this
man.
shit
I'm
up.
not making this shit up because I told him about it. I'm like, dude, this is what happened, because
Wow.
he was there.
Yeah, I
but
was
he
there, but I
took
drove
off
I drove
earlier.
separate,
Yeah,
separate cars. so-
right.
That's so cool, man.
But that was like, you guys besides putting on a great show, the little stickers, people were able to take them, and they know who you guys are now.
That's cool,
So
man.
it's,
That's a very
a lot of
flattering
props.
story.
A lot of props also to your team because they were out there
Definitely.
passing them out.
Yeah.
Definitely, they're all awesome, but
Sweet.
So I don't want to put you on the spot here, Jose and Steve, but when are we gonna listen to that song, that crossover song, anytime soon again?
we're gonna
Probably
listen after
2013?
the interview. We're gonna listen to it. Maybe. No.
Maybe.
All right.
No,
Soon,
it's
soon,
something very, very exciting that we have there in store, and we were very lucky to be able to work with this producer that we like a lot, and he's working with major artists, and we cannot confirm who he is right now until everything is clear with this song and all that. But I think it's I hope that song gets released soon, and it's gonna be a pretty cool thing for us, and I think people are gonna like it.
As of right now, if we could close out the podcast with a song, would you allow us to play one of your songs on the podcast at the
Definitely.
end? What song would you like us to play?
From the CD, let's play Mientras Te Vas.
Mientras te vas?
Yeah,
Okay.
because that's the song that took us to Reventon, and that's a very special song right now.
Okay. And then
Okay,
we're going to go ahead and
excellent.
take it away with this song from Sonsoles called...
Mientras Te Vas.
All right. You guys all have a good night.
Bye. Take care.